And there you are. Thank you. I'm excited at the prospect that we would meet each other in a physical appearance of what we are going to attempt to demonstrate is a continuing possibility of the regeneration of my body form identity contained within the entirety of the reflection of light that we are using to demonstrate separate body identities, with a very fundamental acknowledgement being asked of you that you recognize with me that I have come to demonstrate to you my individual capacity to regenerate my body cells. I'm demonstrating to you what I am very certain of within my own mind, and that is the procedure by which we use the term resurrection of our body form is being augmented within the illusion of dark energy, of how we are measuring reflections of light in the ideas about who we are, in our definition of thought processes that come and are stimulated by my idea of a body form, of cellular identity, that maintain within me limited application of an inherent power that cannot not be in me. Look with me. If the simple truth of the matter is we all come from a single source out in the universe without any actual regard to the definitions that we are using in application of the reflection of light ideas, of our capacity to demonstrate a continuing regeneration of our stem cells. Beautifully done. I am termed a master teacher of the idea of the practice within your own conceptual self to demonstrate about your conceptual self that the ideas you have about yourself in your own particular body formulation, while they contain all the advantages that would be evident to you in the retention of a cellular relationship being augmented by determinations of reflection of variant stem cell identities to reproduce themselves in specialization of demonstration of what they are. Now, embryotically, we wanted you to see that the origination of a single cell actually has the capacity to continue to reproduce itself. Yet it is always going to be limited somewhere by the idea that in the DNA correspondent with itself, it will be in a continuing repetition, look with me, of how it sees itself without the fundamental admission that the responsibility for the sight of how it is seeing itself within the light factor of the mind is actually only echoes or ideas about a massive power of light. We used to like to use the term 1 billion times greater than this little limited reflection. And just as obviously, since it is cellularly contained within your own body definition, the utilization of the regeneration of your body cells. We use the term, once again, reformulation in revelation of recognition of resurrection. Look, that in the reappearance of our Savior, the reappearance of Jesus, all he is really going to show you in the light factor of your mind is the instant of your individual capacity to reproduce yourself cellularly. I've decided to make available to you, with your permission, my individual capacity, along with yours if you should decide to exercise it, that we are contained in entirety of memories that we have about ourselves. as a human body. So we're going to have to what? We're going to have to utilize the memories about ourselves in ancient traditions. In the short interlude, let's use 40,000 years. In the short interlude of 40,000 years, we have remained in replication of the idea of a duplicity, of a single cell relationship that required no division whatsoever. It's a simple idea that the entirety of our source of reality is coming from the power of the universe, from God, in which we, whether we participate cellularly in our relationship with ourselves, cannot be more or less than how we feel about ourselves, as demonstrating our own individual capacity, as recognized by, say to me, self-recognition.
Self-recognition.
Thank you. There. Now, here's the procedure that's going to go on in the cellular regeneration. There is no question, if you want to examine me, that I am regenerating my cell separation. The obstacle to the idea of that are very evident to me, very simply because of the power that I am asking you to apply in the regeneration of your body formulation. Are you listening to me? Are fundamentally a threat to the loss of the multiple division by which you defined yourself in your DNA. Isn't this true? That is, once you begin to specialize, here we go, I'm going to specialize in the operation. Let's use my body for a moment. If it were true that I am going to specialize in individual cell responsibility for how I am looking at my body, I would have to make a confession that I am organized within a ratio of the passage of time wherein I operate on what we call, say to me, aging, in the idea of an aging process of my body, because there is no other evidence to me that I have a faculty of actually escaping from the idea that I'm a body formulation. Now, there's a little threat involved in this, and I'm going to show it to you. I know that you can look at me in a demonstration of what you think is my body formulation and arrive at a conclusion that within the genetics of my apparent association of the passage of time, do you want to use me? Say to me, you're an 80-year-old guy.
You're an 80-year-old guy.
See, here's the problem. You may view me very evidently as not an 80-year-old body, but there's very unlikely to be initially in you in a counter idea about yourself, in the regeneration of your cells, although obviously the capacity appears to be in you to regenerate, that you can recognize your own individual capacity to perform that act. This will now be from the resurrected mind of Jesus. The very obvious difficulty within the idea that you're utilizing your own mind, look with me, cannot not be the conceptual conflict that you feel not only in the idea of who you are in reflected light ideas about yourself, but in the retention of repetition of your body idea in order to be this 80-year-old guy. Look at it with me. Now, they asked me, and this is kind of an exciting procedure, and we're not going to make it evident until somewhere perhaps you can see that I am regenerating my stem cell adult ideas of continuing repetition in ideas of the capacity to convert in a light energy idea about myself, my own body. We're teaching this as the reappearance of Jesus in body form. Now, when you begin to recognize the idea that I am teaching cellular responses within the body, there's an exciting procedure about the possibility that it's going to be true.